Well, it's just as soon as he gets to around smite range, because as soon as he gets around smite range,
Yes, I'm very unhappy with you talking about this right now. I'm joined right now by Apollo after a huge upset for Clutch. Maybe the biggest upset in all of history. I'm just kidding. With coverage presented by OmniSlash. No, but it is.
it's an upset.
It is an upset, right?
Yeah, that's true. Not the biggest upset.
Okay. What's the biggest
I
upset?
have no idea, but I hope it's not this one.
I think it's Alliance losing to
Ooh,
Kaboom.
Yeah, that was pretty big. Yeah.
So, in an upset that is only rivaled by Alliance's loss to Kaboom and the 2014 World Championships, Clutch Gaming has got it through. All right. First off, just take me through that game a little bit because it's an hour long. I had to get up. I had to use the restroom. There's a Rice Krispie treat in the press room. It was, and I thought they were going to win. Halfway through, I was like, I sent a press request for Mithy and Sven because it looks like it was pretty one-sided. So, from your perspective, how did that game go?
There was a lot of things that happened, so I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's like, still trying to remember it all. But a lot of team fighting, pretty much. So basically, after level 1, I think you saw the level 1, it was pretty bad. So we were a scaling composition, so we had to play pretty much from behind the entire game. We were just like farming for late game essentially, and that's what we did. And I got like a few steals to like keep us in the game, which was really good. So it was like a little bit of luck involved, but basically it came down to like the late game team fighting, and our team comp was a little bit better for late game, and that's kind of how we won in the end.
Yeah, you mentioned the steals. That's actually one of the big reasons why I wanted to talk to you, because it was a pretty epic situation. So how many? You got 3?
I think I just got the fire dragon, and then I stole a red buff, but that's nothing, and then in Baron.
That's 3.
Yeah.
You don't.
Well, but the red buff is like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's whatever.
But it's kind of hype. That's fun.
Okay.
AD carries are not known for their ability to steal everything, right?
That's true.
So, first off, everybody on the cast was like, "Oh, Apollo's so amazing. He doesn't even need Smite. Lyra's not picking Smite anymore because of this." They were losing their mind.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, when they saw the slow motion of the Baron, I don't think that you were like, all right, 960. All right, he smites, leaving at 60. I throw the Q right now. I get it. Maybe I'm wrong though. How good is your ability to tell the future?
Well, basically, my like the reason why I go or the way I look at this deal is like he's gonna try and smite around 1,000.
Yeah.
So as soon as it hits around 1,000, he might fuck it up or he might screw it up. So I just Q when it hits around 1,000 or lower.
So it is strategic.
Yeah. Because I'm not like throwing out a Q for no reason, just because I had vision on the Baron, which is important, right? If I throw a Q, no vision, then it's just luck, in my opinion. Yeah.
So and then with Dragon, is it similar?
Well, it's just as soon as he gets to around smite range, because as soon as he gets around smite range,
Yes, I'm very unhappy with you talking about this right now.
as soon as it gets to smite range is when I look for the steal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's obviously a little bit of luck. I'm not going to pretend like it isn't,
Yeah.
but I mean, there's a little bit of strategy behind it.
Yeah. Do you think people should be looking at their Mike's inability to land those and feel like he should be criticized?
I mean, that's definitely on him, right? It's not like, it's not like I can outburst his damage. So yeah, it's definitely his mistake, but I mean, it happens, I guess. I don't know.
So if I made the headline for this interview, Apollo Price on Baron Steals, it's definitely on Mike Young. It's not like I can burst this.
Not the best thing to say, but
I mean, for me, it might be the best. That YouTube ad revenue life. I need to get as much as I can.
You definitely do. I've seen where you live, and it's rough.
Not a good part of town. Not a good part of town. Team Liquid lives there, actually.
Yeah.
So that's
it's really bad.
Yeah. They roll up on me all the time. Actually, Acadian and Golden Glue did that one time. I was out in front of I was walking back from a nearby place.
I mean,
Not anymore. At Yahoo, I drove around in a Lambo, but now I just sell that.
Just biking and walking. Yeah.
Biking would be nice. That got stolen. The point is, where were we? Sorry, with my interviews with you, everybody's just like, man, don't even talk about League of Legends because it just goes off topic so much.
There's no reason to talk about it, in my opinion.
No, the game's dead?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Well, that's oh, hey, look.
It's
Sebastian.
Hey, Sebastian.
Have you met Sebastian before?
Yes, of course. Multiple.
Do you know this guy? He used to be famous in Dota. He's kind of washed up now.
Oh, I don't know him.
Oh. He just we'd have to blur that if we showed that, what he just did on camera. All right. Do you know Charlie?
I don't think so.
No, it's fine. You don't. He used to be he helped lead a team that won TI.
Okay.
And then
What was his in-game name?
I think it's just Charlie. Your in-game name in Dota is just Charlie, right? He's just Charlie.
Okay.
Monolith, they say.
Okay. I'm sorry.
There's a bunch of Dota people over there, I think. Actually, wait. There's more than. Yeah. Just all the Dota people are at LCS trying to figure out how to make their life better. All right. Either way.
Okay.
Apollo, please, you gotta stop distracting me.
Yeah.
We're trying to talk about League of
Very
Legends.
sorry.
Yes, as you should be. How are things going on Clutch? Because you guys are not at the top of the standings,
Right.
but obviously a game like that is probably like a pretty good morale boost.
Yeah, well, I mean, this was kind of the week, right? Because we went 0-2 last week, so we needed to make sure that we're like, in order for us to stay in the middle of the pack or stay like competitive for playoffs, we need to be able to beat these top teams, or we need to be able to beat a top team. Yeah. So being able to beat TSM was really good for us, not only for the standings, but just like in terms of like experience and being able to like show that we're being that we can compete with them. But I think our win versus TSM wasn't very clean.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think that there was a point in that game where they should have been able to close it out?
Yeah, I think their early game was really slow for some reason. I think they had a really good early game composition, and then they took over early game like pretty much from minute 3, right? Yeah. And like they should be able to snowball from there, but it didn't feel like they eventually got our turrets, like they got our tier 1s, but it didn't feel like they were like pressuring it very hard. So it was like really awkward because I didn't, TSM is usually pretty good at that, but it didn't feel like they did a good job this game. So it was a little bit weird. As soon as like we started stalling at the game around like the 20 to 30 minute mark, yeah, it's definitely hard for them to close the game out, just given like the state of the game. But I mean, I'm pretty sure they should have closed it if I didn't get the Baron steal. Yeah. That was probably the big one. So it stalled the game out for just maybe like 6 more minutes, right? So not long enough time.
Yeah. And what do you think of Mithy?
He's I mean, he's good.
All right. The sort of wrapping this up because obviously we can't have a real interview. 2 big announcements this week. Actually, 2 kind of okay announcements. One, LCS finals in Miami. How much would you like that? Is Miami interesting to you, or is it just like, yo, get me top 4, I don't care where it's at?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the situation where I don't really like it's like I just want to go to playoffs, right? Okay, it's like obviously Miami's cool, but I can't really think about being like, oh man, if only it was somewhere else. So it's just if I get a playoffs, it's good. Like and be on big stage again. Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing is Sundays. Games start at 12.
Right.
Instead of 2 starting next week. Some of the players had thoughts on that. Felt like games were going late. I think High at one point in time tweeted something like, "Why am I getting out of games at like 9, or why am I eating at 10 p.m. or something?" So, for you, any interest in that?
Well, I mean, I prefer it just because I don't really like playing later. Like I get tired, right? Like it just naturally when the game starts around like sometimes it starts around like 5 or 6, and then you're playing and then you're in game too, right? For another hour. It's just you kind of get tired. So I prefer it starting earlier. It's like much nicer for me, and I think for most teams because we scrim, it's like the same schedule as the scrimming pretty much. Like we scrim pretty early now, so it's nice to keep on that same schedule.
When you say pretty early,
11. I was like,
it's funny. It's funny because I interviewed Bonnie, Deadlift's girlfriend, and she said like, oh, he's got a really rigid schedule. It's like he wakes up sometime between 9 and 10. And all the top comments are like, well, first off, is that rigid? Secondly, 9 and 10. And so similarly, LCS players are like, we scrim pretty early, like right around 11 o'clock.
Well, that's earlier than some of the seasons that we've been in. So like sometimes like we scrim to like 12 or even like 2, I think. So yeah.
It's good that you guys are getting up earlier now.
I mean,
what time do you wake up?
I wake up at 9 every day.
Nice. Anything that you want to say to any of the fans out there who are like, wow, we thought Lyra was good, but maybe it's all about Apollo getting these smite steals.
Yeah, where's my credit?
Yeah.
Thank you for supporting me. I'm sorry we can't ever have a real interview. I think it's the interviewer's fault, so we can go ahead and blame it on Travis. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Yeah, we'll just cut that part. We'll cut that part. Thank you.
Cut that in post.
It'll just say like, sorry we can't ever have a real interview. I love Travis Gafford. Thanks for watching. You can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel. I know you wanted the Ovly outro. Instead, you're getting this. I'm sorry. But I want to give a shout out to OmniSlash for supporting this and for you subscribing to this channel.